here to dance, and I didn't come here to talk. I just came here for the whiskey, and I'll be here till last call, 'cause I'm a blue red man.
Welcome, everybody, to the Free Beer Tomorrow, We Promise podcast. We're happy you're joining us once again, and we have a very special guest with us today. It's actually not a stranger to our little show we have going on. But first off, let's just go around the table real quick. Ray, how you doing, buddy?
Good, man. How are you doing? Good to see everybody.
Doing great. Thank you. Doing great. And our newest addition, Boomer. How's it going?
Going good. How are you, Joe?
You guys know I'm doing good. I'm always doing good. All right. Good deal. Let's move into our guest. This is exciting, guys. We had him on our very first episode of the Free Beer Tomorrow, We Promise podcast. He just recently released his new book. It's called The Liberty Code. And if you watched our first episode, you know all about him. Let's just bring him in right now. Mr. Raymond Shasho. Ray, how you doing, buddy?
Nanu.
Hey, Ray.
How's it going, guys? And women.
Really good. Good. How are you?
We're doing good, man. Doing great.
Good.
Except for a little accident I had after the last episode you guys recorded. But,
what happened?
I fell out of bed. I guess I was dreaming, but then I think what really happened, it was an alien abduction gone wrong. I think one of the aliens in my book picked me up, and I guess, the tractor beam that kind of picks you up into the spaceship, malfunctioned. And I kind of fell on the floor and hit my head on the chest drawer, and blood everywhere. Ambulance came, picked me up. 7 stitches later, they came out yesterday, and I'm back.
Is it your forehead?
It's my forehead, yeah.
You can't even hardly tell.
Well, from
Hey,
here you
can't
can.
tell.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm glad, because
Well, they did a good job.
I was afraid I was going to look like Herman Munster, if anybody knows who that is.
Oh,
Well,
man.
kudos to whoever stitched you up. They did a really good job.
Lakewood Ranch Hospital. Yay!
There you
Hey,
go.
okay.
Shout out to them.
I would say
Yes.
that's a free plug, right?
There's a free plug. And by the way, stitches hurt when they come out of your forehead. They really
Oh, yeah.
sting. Didn't like that
Probably
at
hurt
all.
more coming out than they did going in.
They did, because they numb you. They gave me like 5 or 6 shots to numb it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get the needle and thread thing, and I didn't even
Yep.
feel that.
Well, the Liberty Code was just was released. So, I mean, do we think that, somebody,
Could be.
I mean, there's secrets that they're saying, maybe you revealed something they didn't want revealed. And
Well, there's a lot of things are coming true that are in my book. A lot of things are really happening right now, and it's kind of scary. And the book takes place in 2040, which is not that far away.
Right.
So, but I think good things about the aliens. They're good. They actually help us. They're not bad aliens. So,
Well, that's what I was going to say. You seem to be on the side of the aliens.
yeah, they
Right.
help. They help us.
They help us. Okay.
They help us.
So,
They're on
yeah,
the side
and
of the
it's-
U.S. Yep.
that's why when you mentioned tractor beam, I just immediately thought, so was it a tractor beam malfunction? Like beam me
Yes.
up and then just Scotty didn't hear him? Like
It dropped
what
me.
happened? Yeah. Just
was
totally
about-
malfunctioned.
I was as high as the ceiling, and then I just fell on the chest drawer with my head. So it hurt.
Well, we're glad you're with us.
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I hope
is
it wasn't
good.
the aliens, because
And that's
that wouldn't be good.
not your first experience with aliens. Or
No, I
UFO.
actually saw a UFO back when I was about 10 years old near Andrews Air Force Base, and they denied it, of course. But it looked like an orb circling. It just kept circling for about 5 minutes around
Okay.
us. And it wasn't just me, the whole apartment complex. Everybody came out to look at it.
Wow.
It's pretty cool.
But nothing publicly ever came out, right?
No, they denied it. We had Andrews Air Force Base like 5 minutes from my house, and they said, no, it was a weather balloon.
Weather balloon. Okay. We know all about those spy balloons, don't we? Weather balloons.
We do.
Well, Ray, how's the book going? What kind of feedback are you getting?
It's too early. If people go on YouTube, they're going to see a lot of very cool AI teasers. Go to YouTube, put in the Liberty Code, Ray Shasho. I did all these very cool teasers. These are all kind of little episodes of the book that I created on AI, and I love AI. AI, that's awesome. It is so cool.
You're getting hooked.
Yeah, I am hooked. I am hooked. It's a good thing, I think. I mean, you can use it in a bad way, and probably people will. But if you use it in a good way, it's a really cool thing. I'm on a first name basis with my AI guy. I call him Captain, and he calls me Captain. Oh, here we go. There's me with an alien.
I love
reading
it.
the Liberty Code together.
Oh, that's so awesome.
That is so cool right there.
Yeah, there's another video of me and him talking, and
is that J-Rod or Naxia?
that was neither one of them. That was just another ambassador.
Okay.
Naxia is very, scientific. Like she wears a lab coat. There she is. That's Naxia.
Oh, there she is.
That's Naxia.
Okay.
And they're actually very pretty aliens. The women there are, really nice looking.
Yeah, she's looking good.
Yeah.
So the book is out. It's doing its thing. Hopefully we're getting great reviews on it and you're getting great feedback on it, and that's going to be all good.
I've got a PR company that the big launch really is in a couple of weeks or so. That's when they're going to hit Amazon hard, and we're actually going to have the ebook on a special for 99 cents for a while. It's going to be a special promotion.
Oh,
99
wow.
cents.
99 cents. That means I make nothing.
But it's going to get out there.
It'll push that algorithm for you.
Exactly. That's the main thing. And
Okay.
I'm calling all my Rockstar friends to buy the book. Okay.
Okay, so speaking of Rockstar friends, the other day I was on your, I believe it was your channel. Was it Interviewing the Legends?
Okay.
And just recently, this is like yesterday,
Right.
and I saw a little video, and you are literally shaking hands with people like Elvis Presley.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, I can't think of all who it
Jimi
was.
Hendrix. John
Jimi Hendrix,
Lennon.
first one, right?
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that? Is that all AI?
AI. Yeah. I have 3 different apps that I use for AI. The main one I use is actually from China, which is it's incredible. It's probably the best one I have. But it takes some time. You got to you turn your pictures into a movie, like a movie, basically. Okay. And you just got to kind of line up the episodes, the way you want. But I had a lot of fun with it,
So you've created these yourself?
Yeah, I did all the AI stuff myself.
Wow.
Hollywood's in big trouble.
I'm telling you. It sounds like it.
Yeah.
That was really, really neat.
It was cool. And it's not expensive either.
Okay.
So people should know that.
Wow, okay.
Oh, there it is.
Here it is, right here.
It's me and Jimi Hendrix shaking hands. Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Look at that.
The Rockstar
John
Chronicles
Lennon.
book in the background. John Lennon.
Wow.
The king.
Elvis.
Ray
Paul McCartney?
Shasho, author of the Rockstar Chronicles, wishes to extend his heartfelt gratitude to the
Yow!
legendary artists
James Brown.
who shaped the spirit of rock and roll.
Now, I'm basically thanking everybody
Here are
for
just a few of them.
creating the spirit of rock and roll. I interviewed Johnny before in real life.
Okay. Buddy Waters.
Yeah.
So cool.
Little Richard.
Little Richard, yeah.
Chuck Berry.
Barry.
And there's so many other guys. Elmore
Wow.
James.
Yeah.
These are, all the creators of rock and roll. You can go way back to the early 20s, 1900s to find the creators of rock and roll. Robert Johnson, all those guys.
Wow.
So I do want to ask you, because these are iconic legends, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Are there any conversations that you've had throughout this career where that person or that group truly inspired you?
The people that kind of inspired me are actually broadcasters. I went to broadcast school. It was owned by CBS. I was a radio DJ back in the late 70s. I did top 40 radio.
Okay.
So the guys that inspired me, I guess, were actually Johnny Carson, all the DJs from the local radio station that I grew up with, which was WPGC, Good Guys Radio, those guys. Wolfman Jack, watching Dick Clark,
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a radio guy, So those are the guys that inspired me. And I was in awe of musicians,
Yeah.
I thought they were the coolest guys on earth.
So, as of today, you've done what, 1,000 interviews with rock stars and celebrities, right?
Yep, that's about right.
Okay, so with that many interviews, you've got to have some good some interviews that stick out. Like, let's say, what band or celebrities had a big band feud or something like that. Something like that stick out in your mind? There had to be something.
Not really. Things like funny stories, I guess. Like Lou Gramm from Foreigner told me that I think it was Mick Jones was left. I think it was Mick Jones. The tour bus took off without him. I think he was like in a 7-Eleven or something getting coffee or whatever, and it took off without him. And he had to catch up to the tour bus in another city. John Anderson from Yes, they were on the airplane, and they took the wrong plane to their concert. And he stood up, him or Chris Squire even stood up, and they said, "Can you turn the airplane around?" I mean, in his passenger seat. We're going the wrong way, things like that. Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad, he was at a big festival. I don't know if it was the Iowa White Festival or what, but Janis Joplin was there, Jimi Hendrix was there, and Janis Joplin, they had to get on a helicopter to get to the show.
Okay.
And I think it was Mick Jagger, is what he told me, got a chocolate bar. No, it was Janis Joplin got a chocolate bar and put it on the seat of the helicopter, and then Janis Joplin sat on it and got the chocolate all over her. Silly things.
Okay. All right.
It's and we talked about Woodstock. Some of the guys were on LSD. Santana was on LSD. Peter Rivera from Rare Earth told me that he always keeps his eyes closed when he plays drums now because when he was on LSD, he would close his eyes so he wouldn't freak out. So he still closes his eyes.
Even not on LSD, he closes his eyes.
I don't know how you can play on stage on LSD.
Sounds like he learned how to play better with his eyes closed.
I think he did.
Yeah. Sounds like it might have helped his drumming career.
I know.
You mentioned Chris. Chris Squire
from Yes,
bass player from Yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You interviewed him.
Mm-hmm.
He told you about what he thinks about aliens.
Yes, he did. He told me they were us from the future, and some people do believe that.
I mean, he went into a pretty good little description of what he really thought.
Yeah, he even wrote music about it on I think it was on the Squawk It album with Steve Hackett.
Okay, I think we have that clip right here from your interview.
Well, I don't know if you have the clip, but
did you find the clip?
What inspired the lyrics from that? I guess you're saying, do you believe we've been visited by aliens?
Wow.
Are on
You
the
found
Earth
that.
from the future or something like that, right?
Aliens are only us from the future.
Right.
Yeah.
So what?
That's something I've thought for a long time, because if you consider that the human race is going to probably go on and progress, through this century and and the next one, it wouldn't surprise me at all if in the future, when we're not eating steak dinners anymore, that we look probably like the idea of what aliens.
very kudos to Ray for digging that up, man.
It's an interesting take on aliens and where they come from and who they are. Yeah.
A lot of rock stars believe in aliens. I mean, they, And we talked about this before. It's not because they were drug induced. They really do. You know, they've seen things. You know,
Can you
they travel a lot.
name some other ones that come to your mind?
Let's see. What I'd say, my mind's going blank now.
That's okay. You hit your head recently.
Guy from the Moody Blues, Michael Pinder.
Okay.
He saw a whole. They used to call him Moon Boy growing up because he had this fascination with space and everything. He saw a whole squadron of spaceship, maybe like 10, 15 spaceships in the sky, and we had a conversation about that.
What is that called? Is that a flock?
If you say so.
I don't know.
A fleet. It's a fleet.
A fleet. There you go.
A fleet. There you go.
Yeah, Boomer watches Star Trek.
Yeah. But he was, credit to my husband for introducing me to Star Trek. Thank you. Was he was younger though when this happened?
Yeah, he was younger. Yeah.
Wow.
But they travel a lot, so they're going to see stuff, you know?
They
travel all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Literally all over the world. You're right.
Yeah. It's interesting, though. It's a subject now that's been going haywire. I mean, every show you see, you're going to see something about gray aliens. And it's funny that we identify them as gray aliens, and everybody has the same, perception of what they look like,
Why is that?
I don't know. It's coincidence, or even I have that perception. The gray alien with the big eyes and the, even the movie Close Encounters, they had the gray aliens in that, right? See, Star Wars to me, I mean, a lot of people are going to hate me for this, but I thought Star Wars was kind of silly, because the aliens look stupid in the bar. Come on. I mean, everything else was kind of cool, but the aliens were stupid.
I'm not a real big Star Wars guy. So.
No, I like Close Encounters. That was the show I like. That was more realistic, I think.
Okay. Well, I feel like Hollywood has helped us to determine what we think aliens actually look like.
Yeah, I think so.
I
give credit to Hollywood. A lot of their movies have come true. Like the COVID epidemic, they had a lot of shows about, outbreaks and things like that years before it happened. So, they've done a good job there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Ray, I did want to ask you, because you've written several books about science fiction, aliens, otherworldly beings. But I did want to ask you, so as far as the book, the Rockstar Chronicles, because that has, I know you mentioned it, you've got how many interviews total?
Around 45 or so.
About 45 interviews.
The book is huge. I mean, it's a great coffee table book.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
But see
awesome.
the thickness of it? So I could only get 45 in there, or else the publishers would say that's too big.
Okay.
So I wanted to ask you, because I know you mentioned a lot of like the broadcasting inspiration background, when you went to school and growing up. What inspired you to compile those stories, though, for the Chronicles?
I started out working for an online, basically like a entertainment newspaper thing called The Examiner.
Okay.
They were based out of Colorado, and also they're related to the San Francisco Examiner newspaper. And I started I think it was in 2003. I had my own column, a classic rock column. So I started there, didn't know what to write about. I covered concerts and things like that. And then I said, I should probably interview some of these guys. And the first interview I had was Joe Lala. It was in a band called Manassas. He was in a lot of, you remember the song Ride Captain Ride? He was in that band.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He was on the Saturday Night Fever album. He plays bongos. And he invited me to his condo in Tampa. And we sat down and, 3 hours, 4 hours. We had a good time talking about the past and everything. I said, this is pretty easy. Let me try this for a living. And it just took off from there. I just started contacting.
It was very natural for you.
It was natural.
For the interviews. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
And you're very passionate about the subject, obviously.
That's exactly. I mean, since I was a kid,
right.
It's all about all the kind of music, not just rock and roll.
Raymond.
That's it. That's what he
Rock
called
Raymond.
me.
Can you show us that book one more time, the cover of that book, please?
Oh, yeah.
The Rockstar Chronicles. Because
it hasn't taken off like I wanted it to, which I don't get, because it tells you, it outlines what happened to all these rock stars that we were so familiar.
Yeah.
And the front cover, it says right there, it says Series 1.
Right.
When is Series 2 coming out?
Well, see, I've done so many interviews, I've got to have more than one.
That's what I was thinking. If you've interviewed thousands of people, or over 1,000 people,
and the hang up is the photos. You got to get permission. You got to get permission from that it's okay to do the interview and publish them in the book. I had to get permission from all these guys. The guys that had passed away, you really don't.
I was just going to ask that question. I was just going to ask that.
Yeah, chapter 1 of the Rockstar Chronicles, most of those guys are not with us anymore, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there will be a series 2.
Okay.
But it does cost money. The photos cost money, and it took me, I don't know, between...
Well, in your time collecting these stories.
It took a long time.
Absolutely.
Hey, peeps. It's your boy, Joe. Thanks for tuning in to the Free Beer Tomorrow podcast. People always say you only live once. I call bullshit on that. I say you need to live every day because you only die once. Now please take a second to click that like button and go ahead and subscribe to our channel. You can find us on TikTok and YouTube at Free Beer Tomorrow Podcast. I read where the Rockstar Chronicles took you 7 years to write. Is that right?
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah, the Liberty Code just took me a few months. I mean, it just came so easy to me.
That's because you had help.
I did have help.
Absolutely. Yep. From beyond.
J-Rod Noxia.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, Ray, on the last episode, we actually talked quite a bit about just local artists and musicians. And we actually started to discuss a lot of the cover bands that are out there now. So I know you were talking about the interviews in the book itself and just, popularizing it. I think there's a really big push in a lot of markets with these tribute bands. So I think you're going to see more and more of the younger generations really start to have an interest in these older classic legends, rock stars, right? So I wanted to just kind of spin from that for just a minute, because I want to get your take on something. So, Taylor Swift recently, I think this was as of maybe this week or at the end of last week, she's made a big push. She's finally officially owned all of her masters now. I think there was 6 left and she finally owns them. But it sparked a lot of conversation about artist rights in the streaming age. But it's nothing new, right? When it comes to this territory, classic rock stars, the interviews that you share with these bands and with these artists, I'm curious because I'm sure you've heard stories about them being exploited by labels or signing away rights early on because maybe they just didn't have the management or the know-how. So how does Taylor's move, would you say, compare to what artists like, Prince or Tom Petty, or, what they went through back in the day? Do you think it signals any type of shift in this industry where maybe they are going to start to have control over more of their work?
Well, they should, and a lot of rock stars have sold their material, but I think Bruce Springsteen just sold all of his material instead of owning it. As they get older, the older rock stars, that's what they're going to do. It's been a long journey for them. They want to make money and retire, basically. There's a lot of legality in all that stuff. I mean, it was smart for her to do it, for Taylor Swift to do it. I'm not exactly a big Taylor Swift fan. I can tell you that right now. I miss the bands, the rock bands, and I'm just tired of this, dance kind of music or poppy type music. When I grew up with people like Carly Simon and Carole King, who were the geniuses. They didn't sell out stadiums, but Taylor Swift is. And those are the good. Those are the legends, in my opinion. Aretha Franklin. To me, those are the legends.
Yeah.
Today they use auto tune and all kinds of tricks. But a lot of people say she's a good musician, and she doesn't fake it like some people do. But that was a smart move by her. And you're right. A lot of people did get screwed back in the day. I had a long conversation with Tommy James. I don't know if you remember Tommy James and the Shondells.
And the Shondells.
Oh, yeah.
He was screwed by the mafia.
What?
Please.
Did they own a label?
Roulette Records, and they owned him.
Oh, wow.
They would not pay him when they didn't want to pay him, and it took years later for him to get some of his money back. Wow. What are you going to do if they're mafia owned? What are you going to do? You can argue with them,
right?
Was that commonplace back 30, 40 years ago for
probably
mafia to be involved in the record labels and things like that?
Yeah. There was a lot of shady characters back then. Okay. So, and you had payola back then, where you would pay the DJ to play the record, which I didn't disagree with. I mean, today it's probably a different form of payola because you don't hear any really good things coming over commercial. I hate commercial radio. Oh my God. I cannot stand commercial radio. That's why they have podcasts now and, internet radio, which is basically taken over. iHeartRadio, guys like that, those conglomerates, I hate them. Radio is supposed to belong to the community.
Gotcha.
And the DJ. The DJ is what made radio. And now they've taken that out of the equation, and everything's corporate, and they play the same music over and over again. It's just a disgrace.
Well, I think now the DJs, I mean, you have some people that have spots, but the DJs, it's all computerized.
It's all computerized.
They're not the DJs of what you and I remember back
No,
in
of course
the day.
not.
Yeah.
They had personality,
Correct. They actually had like a show.
They did have a show.
It was really showcasing things.
I had an 8-hour show. Yeah.
I was just going to say, Ray, you can talk from experience, right?
Right.
Yeah. You were a top 40 DJ, correct?
I was top 40 in Annapolis, Maryland. Yep. 14 WNAV, where we bring you more.
Yeah, it wasn't just about playing the music.
I had a playlist. I can go off the playlist, and interject some of my own music. But today, like you say, it's on tape, and they play the same crap over and over again. It's ridiculous. They've ruined it. And there's no record stores anymore. Concert tickets are outrageous. It's a shame. It's a shame it came down to this.
It's a total different world than it was 30, 40 years ago, 20 years ago.
That's true.
Do you ever see it? Do you ever see it coming back around?
I don't know. Some of the artists today, they have more control now, and they like that. But are they making money? Probably not. There's a lot of bands that I interview that are in 4 or 5 different bands, and they have side jobs because they can't make it.
Wow. Even the top band members.
Yeah, I mean, what rock band do you hear on terrestrial radio? No, there isn't any rock bands. There's no Guitar Hero anymore. It's a different ball game now. To me, and Ray would know this. To me, the last bit of rock and roll that was commercial was in the '90s, the grunge wave, which was good. I liked it. I've listened to it with my kids, the Nirvanas, and all those guys, Pearl Jam. That was the last bit of kind of rock sound that got on the radio, and then after that, it went away.
Did you ever get to interview Eddie Vedder?
Not Eddie Vedder. I interviewed Nirvana's manager from Blind Melon. Let's see. Ray would know. Is he still there?
Yeah, you did Saliva.
Saliva.
That's
good band.
Yeah. Who else? Candlebox. Candlebox. You know, for me, those are newer bands from the guys I interview, you know.
They're what, from the 90s?
Yeah, now they're considered classic rock, you know.
Okay.
But I like that era, you know. Ray was a big Disturbed fan, you know. For Christmas, I bought him tickets for Disturbed. You know, we went to a lot of concerts together, you know.
Cool.
But, you know, Boomer's right. A lot of younger kids are now getting into the classic rock guys, which is awesome.
They are, which is awesome. For everything you've said during this conversation is leading me to believe that you just have so much experience in this world with the interviews, how you got to where you are. And I would be remiss if I didn't ask this. So is there any advice that you have for anyone that's aspiring to be a music journalist, interviewing musicians? What advice would you give someone that is looking to do that as their career?
Just go for it. Don't be afraid. Contact the artist publicist. It's so easy with the internet nowadays. You know, there are some bands out there that are going to turn down your interviews. I mean, I try to interview people like I think I did try to interview Taylor Swift, but you know, these guys are so big, they don't need the promotion, they don't need the PR. Even though they have a new album out, you would think they would need the PR, you know. And if all the albums I've ever interviewed, I never gave a bad interview. I will not do that. I'm not going to destroy anybody.
Sure.
Rolling Stone magazine did in the past. They destroyed a lot of people, which I will not do. You know, I want to keep my genre alive. You know, keep rock and roll going. But yeah, you just got to have the nerve to contact these people, and you can just contact them through email, get their PR. But you got to have a little bit of background. You know, once I started getting, you know, like a few interviews under my belt, it was a different story.
You have to have,
of course, you got to have a background.
You have to have some street cred, right?
Street credit, just like free beer tomorrow, and you're earning your street credit right now.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate that.
So I'm hearing tenacity. Don't get discouraged.
Don't get discouraged.
Right? Use the power of social media.
Yep. There you go.
Right, because it's really
it's not that hard. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And we're going to get Jason on this show soon. He's a big country guy.
Jason Passmore.
Yes.
He's going to be in a future episode very soon, we hope.
He's cool. He's good.
That's a very busy man, and trying to schedule him is tough. But to your point, we're not giving up. We're gonna have him on.
Oh, you'll have him on. You got a connection. That counts.
It's all it's all good, right?
All right, Boomer. Who do you know? Who's your connections? Come on, we got to get him on the show.
Yeah, Boomer. Who do you know? Anybody?
I gotta go. I need to go through my phone. See who I can contact. I might have to make contacts of contacts.
Please go to your A list, okay? We want A list.
Yeah, of course.
A-listers only.
So Ray, you said you had tried to interview some folks that never did call back or what?
Oh yeah, you know what I do? I put them on my shit list.
Okay. And that's okay.
You can act like that with me, fine.
I say it works both ways, right?
It works both ways. That's right.
Okay. In listening to your different interviews on your YouTube channel with interviewing the legends, you always ask the question about A Field of Dreams, right? Okay,
one of my favorite movies.
I'm going to ask you that same question. If there was anyone that you have not been able to interview, or maybe someone's passed away that you never had a chance to interview, who would that be?
Frank Sinatra.
Oh,
very cool.
That would be at the top of my list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
See, I would categorize it as the whole Rat Pack.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
But if I had to pick one, it would be him.
It would be Frank. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, he has some stories.
Oh,
absolutely, he does.
I mean, I've interviewed a lot of people that knew him, and they have stories about Frank. You know.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Second-handed. That's even better.
Yeah. I'd like to talk to Ronald Reagan too. I was always a big admirer of Ronald Reagan.
Oh yeah.
So okay.
I think he'd be cool because he had a great life. You know, he was in broadcasting as well.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Wow, nice.
They didn't like the name the Rat Pack, Frank Sinatra. They hated that name. That's all journalists. And one thing you didn't know was Sammy Davis Jr.'s mom was Cuban.
Oh, wow.
Or he had Cuban blood. He didn't want to, he always said she was like Puerto Rican, I think, or something like that. But because of the Cuban Missile Crisis, he didn't want to make that public. Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Cool backstory.
See, you're full of stories.
Oh, yeah.
So when is the next book coming out?
This is fun because I had nobody to talk to him about. I bore my wife to death, you know. I had nobody to talk to, you know. And sometimes when you see a young person and you tell them these stories, they say, I don't know who that is. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know.
Well, I'm going to speak for the group here, but I'm going to say anytime you need to talk to somebody, you just let us know.
Cool.
And we'll have you on here anytime you want.
So what's next for you, though? Are you going to take a break because we just had the book come out? I mean, no injuries, okay? No
I
slip
know.
and falls,
That's up to the alien. So
I know.
Not me.
We'll talk. We'll have a chat with them. But what are your plans?
To write.
Okay.
I want to just keep writing books the rest of my life. It's been quiet on the interview front. I do have 2 next week.
Oh,
I have Nad Sylvan, who is in a Steve Hackett. He works with Steve Hackett from Genesis. And I have Jack Go, who is the last lead singer of King Crimson, coming up next week.
Oh, wow.
And once you have those interviews, how long before we'll be able to hear them?
Oh, this what I usually do is after the interview, that night I'll publish it.
Oh, wow.
And then it's on all the sites.
I was just going to say, tell us where can we find these interviews? Where can we find you?
YouTube is probably the easiest way.
Okay.
They're all on YouTube. I got like 400 interviews on YouTube. I'm on Apple. You name it. All the websites. Awesome. Punch in my name on Google, you'll find me. I'm so easy to find, you know. It's like
very transparent, and we love that about you for sure.
Yeah, why not,
folks?
A big thank you, though.
Yeah.
Seriously, to Ray,
thank you for having me on. I really
for joining us and
Sure.
sharing your incredible journey through music and media and all of those artist interviews. Your insights into that classic rock world, to the unforgettable stories that you've gathered over the years. I think you bring serious wisdom to the mic and to this interview for us today. So if anybody out there, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow the podcast, leave us a rating and review, share it with someone who loves music and great conversations. And you can keep up with us on Spotify and TikTok at Free Beer Tomorrow Podcast. We post episode highlights and guest updates, behind the scene moments. I think we even posted that UFO that Ray saw, might have been a candle. We're not sure. It hasn't been confirmed. So, but you won't want to miss those. And for the full video version, head over to YouTube, search for Free Beer Tomorrow Podcast. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so that you're always in the loop. Thanks for listening. And until next time, stay tuned, stay curious, and keep supporting the real voices in music. Thanks, everybody.
I'm here to dance, and I didn't come here to talk. I just came here for the whiskey, and I'll be here.